What if the next great tech success story isn't a billion-dollar startup in Silicon Valley, but your favourite local coffee shop finally running smoother because of a smart, easy-to-use AI? Well, in today's episode, I'm joined by John Waldmann. He's the founder and CEO of a company called Homebase, and they are a platform that's quietly becoming the digital backbone for more than 150,000 small businesses and 3.8 million workers. Whether it be scheduling and payroll to hiring assistants that are powered by AI, John is going to share how Homebase is shifting the balance of power by making advanced tools accessible to the businesses that essentially form the backbone of all our communities, wherever you're listening to this. And I also want to hear how John's personal connection to small business inspired Homebase, and why AI might actually favour the little guys over the giants, and how listening, and I mean really listening to customers, is shaping the future of tech development. So whether you are an entrepreneur, technologist, or just someone thinking about finally starting that side hustle or small business, this one's packed with some practical insights and a refreshing take on what real innovation looks like at ground level. But enough from me. Let's get John onto the podcast now. So a massive warm welcome to the show, John. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Thank you for having me. I am John Waldmann. I am the founder and CEO of Homebase. We are the everything app for hourly teams, providing scheduling, time tracking, payroll, hiring, HR, and more. We work with over 150,000 of your favorite local businesses, and last year made work easier for over 3.8 million workers.
And before you came on the podcast, I was doing a little research on you. One of the things that I love about your story is how you've dedicated your entire career to developing solutions that ultimately help smaller businesses thrive. And I love how you're using technology to do that. But before we dig into some of the details on that and the kind of technology we're talking about, where did that passion come from? What lit the spark in you? There's got to be a story there, right?
I do love small businesses, and I have been working with them for a long time. My first job was at a small business. Like many Americans, I started my career working for a local business. I worked for a tuxedo rental store in the Seattle area. And I learned many things. I learned how to hem pants, how to sell, all of those good things. But I also learned a lot about responsibility and ownership and professionalism and all of these incredible things. You know, I remember the first day I was given the key to close the store. That was a pretty big deal to a 17-year-old at the time. So, you know, I certainly had a lot of love going back then. I worked at a company that was serving small businesses, and then the real big catalyst for Homebase came because one of my best childhood friends opened a small business. He decided to open a restaurant. And I saw everything that he was going through and the heroic effort that it took to open a business, all of the things that he had to learn how to do, all of the challenges he took on. I had many other friends that were running small businesses at the time, and I started to learn a little bit more around what it took. And I think there were a couple things that came out of that. Of one, just an absolutely incredible appreciation of what it takes to be a small business owner. The level of courage and hard work and everything else required. And two, a really, really strong desire to help them figure out a way to make it a little bit easier for them. And the thing that we have been working on since is the team side of that. Back in 2014, started Homebase to make it easier to build and manage your team.
And I think we often forget that small businesses are the lifeblood of any economy around the world. And well, I'm guilty of it. On this podcast, I talk to a lot of the biggest brands and businesses in the world, and we need to focus a lot more on some of these smaller businesses. So I'm curious, from your side, can you expand on how you see that essential role that small businesses play in doing things like driving economic growth, and why they're a critical place for tech investment as well?
I don't think we can overstate the importance of small businesses and local businesses enough in the impact that they have. First, we all know that it's our local businesses that give our neighborhoods their character and their energy. You know, those are the things that make a neighborhood, that make a town a town. We know that small businesses create jobs, over 50% of them. And I think that number's only going to go up. But there's a couple of things that I think are really, really important about small businesses at this particular moment in time, and given all the change in the world that we're going through, which is one, they don't just create jobs, they create good jobs. We know that good jobs are more than income, they're community development, advancement. They're all of these things that help people feel fulfilled and continue to grow in their careers. And small businesses provide that. Local businesses provide that. 82% of hourly workers using Homebase are happy in their role. That is an incredible statistic. That is an incredible statistic about local businesses and the types of jobs that they provide. I would put that against any large company, against any other kind of segment of the economy in terms of the quality of the jobs they're providing. The other thing that is incredibly important is they create economic opportunity. Close to 50% of small businesses are owned by people without a bachelor's degree or higher education. These are doors for economic advancement that are open to everyone. Small businesses also create upward mobility within that. One of my favorite stats is that 80% of restaurant owners started their career in entry-level restaurant positions. Again, just like an incredible ladder for opportunity in this country that we should not take for granted.
And I think there'll be so many people listening. Yes, there'll be people that are owners of small businesses, but there'll equally be people in corporate America that thinking of, oh, I need to step away from this. I need to launch my own business. I could build it on the side to begin with. I want to be the master of my own destiny, so to speak. And of course, technology has now lowered the barrier, enabled small businesses to compete with even the larger businesses out there right now. And also people from any background. So my question for you is, with Homebase, how are you offering easy to use technology that further reduces that barrier of entry and ultimately helps people start their small businesses and help that business grow too? Tell me more about that and the role that you're playing.
I think that the point is excellent around kind of technology as a great enabler for small businesses. And I think it's really been a journey even over the first decade of Homebase. And I look at the decade ahead as being something quite different, but even better for small businesses. It started Homebase. Most of our customers were not using any kind of software or technology for the types of problems we were helping with, whether that was scheduling, time tracking, communication. It was very paper-based, very ad hoc, and therefore lots of challenges. As we brought them online, the average small business was saving 5 to 7 hours a week of time by bringing this work online. That's a tremendous gift to give to a hardworking small business owner. The other challenge that small businesses have traditionally had is that when there were tools, they were not really built for them. They were not built for the challenges of hourly work. They were not built for kind of managers and owners that are on their feet all day, rarely in front of a computer, running a business. From the goal, the beginning with Homebase was to build one platform that could help with every part of work designed from the ground up for them. Not for larger businesses, not for people who sit behind desks all day, but for the realities of local business. And so that was true from the first part of it. Well, I look ahead and say of like, well, now you bring AI into the equation. Not only is this leveling the playing field, but I think in many ways, like this is going to be a great enabler for local businesses to outcompete the larger businesses. This could tilt the playing field in the other direction, which I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Well, I couldn't agree stronger there. 100% with you. And you mentioned the AI thing there. And yes, we had generative AI arrive, nearly 3 years ago. Now we're talking about agentic AI having our own agents. We're also talking about vibe coding. You don't even need to be able to code now. You can just use AI to help you code that whatever it is that you need to create. So I'm curious, though, you've got the ear of so many small businesses there. How are you seeing AI leveling the playing field for small businesses and ultimately helping them stay competitive in today's challenging economy, and in some ways more than compete than those larger businesses too?
Yeah, well, one thing you learn when you spend a lot of time with small businesses is, man, are they just like such a creative and entrepreneurial group? They're so gritty, they are so creative, and so when new technology comes out, they get a lot of them adopt it pretty early and figure out ways to incorporate it into their businesses. And so when we do surveys of our customers and small businesses in general, what we see is the vast majority of them are already using AI in their businesses, and we're adapting it far faster than some of the larger companies. And from early on, we would hear like very creative use cases, like uh, a customer I absolutely love up in New York, Brooklyn Tea, was using it to generate kind of product descriptions for like the range of teas that they sell on their website. Just like things that would have taken them huge amounts of time before. So you see them using it very creatively from the beginning. What I think about now, it's like, now it's about technology companies like Homebase kind of bringing tools that are purpose built and bringing AI that is purpose built for these local businesses and the challenges of local business. And so, as an example, two things we launched relatively recently was our hiring assistant and our scheduling assistant. And you take the hiring assistant, for example. This is an AI assistant that is purpose built to help you build your team. It will write your job description. It will source the candidates. It will help screen the candidates. It will even interview candidates. It will help schedule them for the follow-up interview. Each of those stages would have taken so much time, hours of time, that a local business owner can now hand over to an AI assistant to go do the work on their behalf while they're out running the business. And so it's things like that where you take some of the busy work away from a small business, some of the administrative work, and you allow them, give them the time to lean into the things that really, really make them special, which is their ability to curate an experience, their ability to be close to their customers, their ability to respond quickly to what the market is telling them, what their customers are telling them. Those are things that small businesses are way, way better at. And you just give them all the time and energy to go do that.
And I'm glad you mentioned AI assistants there, because 2025 will be remembered, I think, as the year that AI assistants go mainstream. And there are many smaller to medium-sized businesses that are reading about this stuff on their newsfeed, but maybe not knowing where to start. And of course, you've launched the AI assistants at Homebase. So tell me more about that, why you launched it, and why you see it as such an integral part of Homebase's larger AI investment strategy that you've got going there.
When we first started building our AI products here at Homebase, we had a couple of rules, but one of them was no DFCBs, which is short for dumb effing chatbots. And what meant by that was like, hey, this isn't about just like slapping on a conversational UI on tops of the things that we can already do. This is about being super close to our customers and using AI to solve problems for them that we couldn't solve super effectively before. So helping them save even more time than they could before. What we talked about internally is like last year, we probably saved small businesses 40 million hours collectively. Like, say that's an incredible number. And so the question was like, well, what would it look like in 2025 to save them 100 hours, 100 million hours? Like, what would have to be true in terms of the new problems that we're solving, the ways that we make managing their businesses easier? And I think that AI-driven assistants are a huge part of that. It is, how do you take these big blocks of work that are so time-consuming and start to do a lot of that work for them so that they can spend their time on the part of it that is really leveraging their decision-making abilities, their core insights into it, their personal touches, the things that are really special about them as small business owners, not just spending their time on manual tasks. So we started that with the scheduling assistant, the hiring assistant. We got a lot more coming out over the second half of this year. And it is just, one step towards the larger vision of being that comprehensive solution to help small businesses with every part of their work.
And one of the other things that I love when I was doing a little research on you is your mantra at Homebase is that you're built with small businesses, not just for them. And I think that speaks volumes. So can you tell me a little bit more about how you're leveraging things like customer feedback and addressing small business owners' biggest pain points with technology? Because it's not just you putting stuff out there and say, go use this. You're actually working with your community of small businesses, right?
We sure are. And you mentioned vibe coding earlier. I will say I think the set of AI tools available to product builders and technology companies is one of the greatest things that's ever happened for people building products. I go back to the early days of Homebase, and I had a very distinct advantage in building Homebase, which is I was building products for my friends. I wanted to help them make their businesses easier. My sister was working in restaurants at the time, so I could also show her the employee side of this, of like, is this going to be helpful? Is this going to be useful? And we had very, very tight feedback cycle with really like our first 5 customers that we spent months and months and months building alongside before we ever opened the product up more publicly. That was an incredible advantage that we had in building alongside our customers very, very early on. We do that still today at Homebase. When you think about our hiring assistant, that was built with a customer council, a set of a handful of businesses that our product and design and engineering team talk to every single week, getting the feedback on the next version of the product, the things that they were shipping. We had been working on it alongside them for months before we ever launched it during our launch week. That is a thing that is only easier to do and more powerful in the year 2025 because we can pop up prototypes and designs faster than we ever could before. We can show them a radically different approach, or here's what we're thinking on what this could be. And it doesn't take us kind of a week of design work. It takes us an hour in Lovable or Bolt.new or Figma to kind of create that prototype. So I think the ability to design and build alongside customers has become much easier. And I think that's something that is like great for a company like us, where it's always been true to how we build.
And I think it's fair to say there will be some people listening that are still a little wary of AI, especially when implementing it into their business. Maybe it's data concerns or something else. How are you addressing any potential concerns that small businesses might have with AI products and ultimately ensure that they can confidently leverage this technology and maybe eradicate some of those myths or misconceptions and just use it confidently?
Yeah. Well, first, we have done the surveys, and the vast majority of small business owners do want to use AI. They can clearly see the benefits to them in their business. But even for the businesses that want to use AI, it is really important that we prioritize transparency and education in the AI. And that is both providing a very clear explanation of how it is working, the work that it is doing behind the scenes, giving them input into the decisions that it's making so that we can build trust and that our users can build trust with how it is working. And then it is about the user education along the way of, being very clear on the practical benefits for every part of what we are doing.
And as someone that is clearly passionate about leveraging technology to help small businesses, what are the tech trends that excite you right now? What kind of sets off your light bulb moment, makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning and follow closely? Is there anything that particularly excites you?
I mean, because you're talking to folks all the time and you probably hear the energy coming from, everybody. Yeah. And I just think like there just hasn't been a more exciting time to be building in tech than there is right now. And I say that as somebody who's been building Homebase for over a decade. I think every week there is something that blows me away. Like the hardest part is keeping track, both kind of the tools that are available, how people are applying AI, kind of the new solutions coming from kind of the foundational model companies every single week. There is stuff that is really cool. One of the things, and just to pick one of a million, one of the things that I think is really exciting right now is real-time personalization in product. I think, people are starting to talk about and do some pretty cool things with real-time data visualization, real-time front-end design. I think you play that forward and we're going to be looking back on the current state of software interfaces as incredibly blunt and boring, just 18 months from now. I think this is a thing that's about to go through a big period of change.
Well, I've loved chatting with you today. If we don't have any small businesses listening, thinking I need to find out more about Homebase, can you just walk me through what they can expect if they arrive at your website now? What they can expect, how you're going to help them, etc. What's the typical experience look like at Homebase?
Well, the first thing, go to joinhomebase.com and you can sign up for free. We've got tools designed to help every small business and they start at free. We want to help you move off of paper, move your team online from the beginning. You will save 5 to 7 hours a week. in handling all of that administrative stuff that comes with communication, the scheduling back and forth, time tracking, running payroll. All of that stuff is going to be fully integrated, reduce errors. It's going to save a bunch of time and be incredibly easy to use. We've got an incredible team standing by to help as you get started, but honestly, most of our customers will be able to set it up themselves and just get going whenever they can find the time, and they can do that on their computer, and they can do it on their phone. It's an entirely mobile solution as well.
Awesome. Well, I've loved chatting with you today. But before I let you go, obviously I'm going to add the links to everything you mentioned there to the show notes and the blog post associated with this podcast. But I'm going to ask you to leave one final gift for everyone listening. I always ask my guests to leave either a book that means something to them that they can add to an Amazon wish list, or a song for our Spotify playlist. I don't mind which, but what would you like to leave everyone listening with today?
Yeah, I'll go with a book.
Yeah.
One of the I'm a big reader, and one of the things that I do every year at Homebase is give a book to everybody at the company. Been doing this for a while. The first book I gave was actually the book that I gave this year again, because I felt like it was particularly timely, and it's one of my personal favorites. It's Setting the Table by Danny Meyer. And the reason why I think it's really timely in this world of incredible technology change, because of the core message that businesses and everything is ultimately about how you make people feel. And I think that's an incredibly timely message here as we think about the ways that we are leveraging technology, the way that technology is transforming work. Ultimately, it's not about ROI. It is not about kind of checking the boxes. This is about the feeling that we deliver to people, the human part of building a company.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to get that added straight to our Amazon wish list. As I said, I'll include the link to Homebase as well for everyone to find out more information. Yeah, are you on all the usual social channels as well as the videos and things for people to check out?
Sure are. Listeners can visit us at joinhomebase.com. If you want to visit our blog, that's at joinhomebase.com/blog. You'll find me on LinkedIn, on X, and you'll also find the company on X, on Instagram, and every other place you'd expect. So give us a follow.
Brilliant. And as I always say at the end of every episode, technology works best when it brings people together. And I love how you've used technology to really help small businesses. And there are so many clunky software solutions out there, and just having one app to do everything from onboard employees, schedule shifts, track hours, and run payroll without switching between windows and stuff it is a hugely great thing. So just thank you for sharing your story behind that and how you've used technology. And I urge everyone listening to check that out. But thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Neil. Really appreciate it.
I think it's easy to get caught up with all those headlines about billion-dollar valuations, even trillion-dollar valuations in NVIDIA's case, and all those AI breakthroughs, etc. But for me, today's conversation was a huge reminder, a timely reminder, that some of the most important progress is happening quietly in the businesses that we walk past every day. Because Homebase isn't just building software. It's helping people that run small businesses. It's helping them save time, gain confidence, and compete on a level playing field, all while staying true to the human experience of work. But what do you think? Can AI truly empower the small business economy? Or are we still overlooking the practical needs of the people on the front lines of local commerce? Whatever it is, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share your reflections with me on socials, on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, just at Neil C. Hughes, or email techblogwriter@outlook.com. So a big thank you to John for shouting about small businesses today and talking about how technology is empowering them. Food for thought indeed. And I'll be back again soon with another guest. Bye for now.